All right, and hello, welcome to the Hinge Games live stream. I'm Bjorn Swenson. This is Jacques
Hi,
Troy. Say
John.
hi, Jacques. Uh, and tonight we're going to be talking about reporting content. We have some UGC stuff, user generated content. So we'll be talking about how or what we're doing for reporting that, and then some bug fixing. There's some interesting bugs I found this week. Jacques, what did you work on?
I did some more work. Oops, I did some more work on the dungeons. I was basically just doing things like the portcullis and the treasure room. So those are the portcullis is done. The treasure room's on the cusp of being finished. Just a bit more polish, and I think we should be ready.
Nice. Okay, so I guess we'll get into it. So reporting content, what is that? So yeah, with user-generated content, stuff that players make, if they use some bad words in their name, it's very limited what people can get away with that would be considered inappropriate. Mostly, it comes down to what they name things, because like the stuff you could draw in our rooms is fairly limited in scope. I mean, players are creative, so I'm sure they'd be able to do stuff if they really tried. Uh, but yeah, so but we need a way of doing players to report content if it's like, oh, this is inappropriate. Mod.io handles a lot of that. Basically, so now I'm going to go in. This is a short test gym I made, and basically at any time while playing a dungeon, you get this option in the pause menu: report dungeon. You press Y, report the dungeon. Why are you reporting it? If it's broken, if there's some inappropriate content or other, you basically just press this. It asks you to confirm. You don't have to type in anything else. And then I'm not gonna actually submit this, but basically, yeah, oh, what the hell? I'll do it. It's my dungeon anyway.
Mhm.
So report sent. You'll now be teleported to the entrance. It teleports you out of the dungeon, and you're done. And that's it. Reported. And now, like on the site, if a dungeon gets 10 reports, gets reported 10 times, it gets taken down and flagged for review. But even before that, we can like look at it and see, and then we can on the site go to because you need a profile there basically to
Mhm.
submit stuff to upload your dungeons. So if you make an inappropriate content, we can send you a message to being like, hey, this was taken down, this is why. So it's not like, oh, stuff got taken down, you have no idea why. So yeah, worked on that. Did a few other things. Now it's a question I got a lot whenever I mentioned to another developer, like, oh, we have any dungeon you go into in our game could be a user created one. Anytime you're playing through the campaign, it'll either generate one procedurally or it'll try downloading one off the internet. It'll try downloading one off the internet first, but if that doesn't work out, then it'll just generate one procedurally. So now, after you select your difficulty, I added in an option so you can say either developer only dungeons or allow player made dungeons. So the default is developer only dungeons, and then so it's something you opt into. And I don't know if we're gonna keep it like that. It makes sense to me, but we could change it to like try and get our numbers up and more people playing stuff. You can always change this in the pause menu at any time during the game. So yeah, do that.
I have another question to ask about that. Like, do we have anything in? I know that like we're limited in our flexibility, but if there's a player that, for instance, going to spam like flag inappropriate content and just going to be someone who just keeps on repeatedly reporting content that isn't necessarily
Mhm.
offensive or anything like that, is that going to be in any way flaggable? Or can we?
Uh, I don't know enough about Mod.io's interface. The thing is like because they can.
Yeah,
So there's two parts to that.
yeah,
One is stuff has to be flagged at least 10 times. I see your question,
yeah.
Pixel Theory, but I'm going to answer Jacques first. I'll get to you
All right.
right after that. So basically, stuff has to be flagged at least 10 times to get automatically taken down.
Okay.
And you can only report something once.
Okay.
So you can spam that, and you can do that. And, like,
Mhm.
people would probably. Yeah, we can see how many. The thing is, I don't know Pixel Theory. We could do that by seeing how many reports someone has and compare that to how many correct reports they have. We'll have to look at mod.io's kind of back end for that, or see what their policy is for that and how they moderate it. Might be worth us reaching out to them, being like, "Hey, what do you do for this?" They do recommend generally things be more sort of community moderated. So
Mhm.
like rather than, because you have the option as a developer to have your mods to only stuff. We have the option of having to approve everything that goes live.
Yeah.
So right now everything just automatically goes live, but and that's what they recommend is just have it automatically go live and keep people can report stuff because depending on the scale of your game, it becomes untenable for you to actually do that yourself. So it's more they recommend more community moderated stuff. And the other thing too is depending on the size of our user base and everything like that, it might make sense for us to have some community moderators that are just like members of the community that are very active and we trust that we can just give those privileges to, and they can
Yeah.
and they can do a lot of that work as well. So a minimum level of complexity in play for the dungeon. So just so we don't have empty level uploads. We don't have anything like that in there right now. It's actually not a bad idea. Like you need a minimum number of rooms, or if you make a puzzle, it needs a minimum number of pieces.
Hmm.
It's not a bad idea. That would probably help a lot. But yeah, because we don't have anything in there. But I think it makes sense, and it doesn't have to be like too complicated. And we could even say like, oh, it needs to have at least one of each of these types of rooms or something. Actually, I don't even know if I'd say that. Like, yeah, maybe at least this number of rooms. Because if you want to just make one that's all combat and no puzzles, or one that's all puzzles and no combat, that seems valid. Yeah. So there's that. There's some interesting bug fixing I was doing. Like we had some stuff where I wonder what the easiest way to show this would be. Yeah, I'll just go to vertex slice. It's really easy. So basically, we have some enemies that spawn like we have a path for them to walk along,
Hmm.
and the enemies will spawn anywhere along the path. But the problem is the path goes over because there's the points on the path are on solid ground, but it's a spline, so that the spline can go off the solid ground and over some gaps in some of our dungeon rooms. So I had to do a little bug fix of instead of just spawning them in the air, we do a test now to make sure they're on the nav mesh. Let me go just switch the view here so we can see a bit more of the screen. And I can type in show navigation. So for anybody that doesn't know, nav mesh is kind of this mesh that shows where not necessarily the player can walk. The player can go wherever they want, but this is used for AI characters. And you can see it turns red and green when it's red. It's generating. So this is you can see these are places AIs can walk. I think that's technically not red. It's hard to tell because of the lighting, but that's actually yellow. Oh, this is one of my rooms. Hold on, I'm gonna exit. I want to quit because it's yeah. Oh yeah, actually, I guess I'll just exit dungeon, and then I will options. I should have turned that off because I want an actual. All right, let's reset this. Okay. So yeah, there's green. Yellow is places that. Ooh, that is a bug. It didn't show. It didn't load in a dungeon.
Oh.
Let me a little less safe. Um, but basically, it crashed.
Ah. Well, I could
Let
show
me
some
start.
stuff.
Yeah, sure. Uh, I'll just finish off on my quick tangent. So basically,
Okay.
like nav mesh is everywhere that NPCs can go. So rather than just spawn them at some place, I now check to make sure that I now snap them to the nearest nav mesh. So instead of having them spawn in the air and then immediately fall down into the gap and die, so there were a lot of dungeon rooms that weren't working properly because they just spawn over a gap, die, and then that would be the lookout walking around, and so you
Yeah.
just wouldn't have a combat or anything. And yeah, since when the player falls off a ledge, instead of dying, they just lose a bit of health. When enemies fall off an edge, they actually die, and then if they spawn loot, it spawns like back on the ledge where the player would be teleported to. Just because we don't want it to, but like we don't want players to feel annoyed or anything like that. But, all right, let's see if this works. All right, it's struggling, so that means it's probably loading some stuff in. Yeah, there we go.
Nice.
So yeah, there's different stuff. So there's red stuff that's being generated. There's sort of yellowish stuff in here around these boxes. That's stuff that NPCs will try and avoid if they can. So it's called. So it's the technical terms. Like it's more expensive for them to walk everything. And that way, that's how a lot of the creaky floors work. Is technically they can walk along the creaky floors. They're the floors that fall away. But since they're more expensive, they'll try and avoid them if they can. And that helps a lot. Like just making so like if their path is blocked here, they can push these boxes out of the way to get to you and stuff like that, so they don't get stopped, but they don't get blocked by boxes, but they do try and avoid them. So yeah, here's a good example of a room. So like there was a chance that enemies could spawn in lava, basically, but I now snapped them to the nav mesh, so it's only places that they can walk, which helps a lot. Yeah, this is it's funny to be looking at that, like, this is what Jock's art actually looks like. Without the nav mesh. Looks pretty good. Okay, is there anything else? There was that weird spawning stuff. Oh yeah, downloading feedback. There's one other thing I'll look at really quickly. That's basically when you're downloading a dungeon, and it crashed again. Basically, when you're downloading a dungeon, what would happen is, because we have a map called the dungeon browser, when you were looking at stuff for that, you could select a dungeon to download, and then nothing would happen. It would download the dungeon. It wouldn't tell you anything was happening. It would download the dungeon. It would load it into the dungeon room, but you'd be in the menu being like, did I do anything? It looks like it's broken. So now little UI pops up. It takes, because our dungeons are so small, they're like, I think the largest one I've made right now is like 12 kilobytes. And so it actually, like, the amount of time it takes to download is like a split second. So I was having it pop up and it would flash downloading and be like, what the hell was that? I didn't even catch it. So now I actually put in a minimum amount of time so that you can actually read that it says downloading. And, all right, let's see if I can get this. See if it'll crash. So, dungeon browser. Let's go in here. All right. So here, I got the 4 items found, and then I can pick one. All right, downloading, and then there we go. Now I can go into it. A little bit better. And yeah, I've been working on a lot of stuff like that. We had some contact with a few people over the last week. They started asking a lot more questions about, like, stuff that we hadn't necessarily been thinking of, because we're still kind of in a very much development mindset. But there's a lot of other questions you need to ask when you're getting closer to release and letting people get access to your game, and a lot of things you need to think about. So that's in the last week, it's a lot of polished things and a lot of little technical things like that. So that's what I've been working on. How about you, Jacques? You want to switch over to your screen?
Yeah, sure. This. Right. Can you guys see everything? Okay, so I'll just kind of take a step back and kind of show where I started with everything. So I decided to make a portcullis. Bjorn got to see me kind of struggle with the early kind of reference of this. So the thing about the portcullis that I found kind of jarring was, like, we had like this. Most of the time, it was just such a bland, boring, great.
It's just a grid.
Yeah, and the thing was like, just kind of with the shape language for the game, I wanted something a little bit more to it.
So grids like that look terrible on any kind of screen that's rendered with pixels, because you get that weird stepping all the time. Right?
Yeah, you get the stepping, but also it just looks like, I hate to say amateurish, but
Okay.
it looks like it was made by, like, it's just like no imagination. Here's a
Mhm.
grid, or
It's a very
we're gonna do.
utilitarian thing.
Yeah. So like I was trying to look for like ways to make it a bit more interesting, and I was looking at kind of like gates, like what was it, dungeon gates, to ArtStation tag. And what happened was is like then you started kind of getting these more interesting shapes. But the problem was is as we were realizing, as they started making things, it started incorporating certain elements that made it look like a door,
Hmm.
starting
Yeah.
with like symmetrical bits in the middle or having sort of stuff like that. So I wanted the symmetry, but I also kind of still wanted it to look like a portcullis. So we started just kind of like looking at a bit more, kind of taking some of these shapes. I think some of the key things where it had to be rectangular. Once you have that little arch at the top, it looks like a door. But I remember just like I loved this as a ref image. I love these as ref images. These totally look like doors, but it's sort of more in the right direction that I was going towards. So ultimately, in the end, like, yeah, this is starting to kind of get a bit more like it. And then eventually, what I decided was just uh, kind of it needed kind of the grates. It needed kind of that Celtic symbol. So the nice thing about this was kind of a reuse of one of the floor tiles I had made. And the nice thing was is it I didn't want it to be beaten up because it wasn't going to be like a rock or stone. I just kind of wanted it to be like a flat metal. Well, not completely flat. I tried the completely flat. It didn't work very well. So what we ended up with was, I guess, I'll just open it up in the content browser. Oh, geez. Colors. And here we go. Oh, you got that material in there. So now it's just kind of like a more of a door. Now the problem with having it steel was it started to sort of border looking on sci-fi rather than fantasy, but because of the nature of how like lit the rooms were and how dark they were, I kind of just wanted to go with like a two-tone metal.
Hmm.
I feel like I didn't have to really beat it up as much because I didn't want it to look too much like stone.
Hmm.
And just as long as it had the big rivets and things like that, it was good enough for me. And so functionally in the game, we'll take a look at it. Actually, I'll play another level first. Recent levels. Let's go like this. And as you can see, oh, oh no! Wow, that was dumb of me. Needed to show the door. Door. No, was it? Let's go to
Do
the
you want
next
one
one.
with a door or without a door?
With a door. Yeah,
So door, yes, then.
yeah. Door. No, door.
Just
No,
type in
door. Yes. There we go.
DRY. Yeah.
Yeah. Doctor Y. Here we go. Sure, save those. Gotcha. And play. So from the back, you can't really see it as well. Yes, we also had some issues with the drawing of it, like continuing it.
Mm.
Oh, you can kind of see it there, like a faint highlight
Yeah.
of it there, depending on the angle. But at that point, it doesn't really bother. It doesn't really obscure your vision. But that actually took a little
Mm.
bit of a tweaking. And this was the portcullis in the dungeon. And just the kind of the behavior of it makes it obviously look like it's actually a gate,
Mm.
and it's not a grid. So that was goal achieved. And the nice thing is if we ever get the budget or whatever, we'd be able to add additional doors and like the other worlds, depending on how we do them, we could actually have like more of a Babylonian door, more of like an Asian door with a dragon head on it. We could have like there's a lot of kind of cool things that we could do if depending on how far we get.
Yeah.
Or yeah, cool.
Hmm.
And the second thing I wanted to do was I wanted to make the treasure room. So the thing about the treasure room that kind of was a little difficult was I kind of wanted to make the. I guess I don't really have the old treasure room up. Oh, actually, yeah, I do. Treasure room one. So I guess there was this kind of like a before you had like this sort of really boxy staircase up, which I really liked, and I kind of liked the dramatic lighting that we had in here, which I kind of want to keep, which is screwing up right now. But then I also wanted to have a unique floor made just for the treasure room, different lighting, different floor. That'll kind of be regardless of what lighting, I guess, color combination we use. I wanted the treasure room to always just kind of be its own thing. So it's going to be its own, whatever treasure room color, more neutral colored, but more, more.
Oh
Epic,
yeah, this one has the doors in the wrong place as well.
Yeah, I fixed. Well, I fixed it in the other room. I'll fix these ones as well. That's fine.
Okay.
And so what I did was I need to give myself the challenge of actually just reusing the floor tile patterns that we already had, not adding any new textures. So now I had this new ramp up. It was kind of really hacky how I did some of it because there were some things that I used that I just loved the patterns for that I did, but I didn't really want to. It wasn't really designed to be tiled, so I just kind of forced it to be tiled. And what I mean by that is like, I'll show you the example. Can I? Yes. So there's this texture. It's not like the most well unwrapped texture, but there's nothing I can do at this point. I really liked this. But the thing is obviously this was just kind of for the door. But because I kind of wanted to reuse it, so I did a lot of this sort of like mirroring of things along this, mirroring it along like the X and Y here, just so we kind of have those circles. And then I kind of UV things in a clever way where we kind of get it all around there. And it's pretty hacky in terms of getting it to work. But yeah, another thing was like getting these like floor tiles to kind of follow the pattern of this. It was just all about like stretching the UVs in a way and giving it enough polygons to make sure that the fragmentation wasn't as obvious. And the other hacky thing was this here. Let me see if I can find it. I realized, and this is not going to be a reusable thing at all. I really just liked this different gold trim here, this little gold sheet that happened just in this one texture. So what I did was I basically unwrapped that and kind of used it to kind of add these little more swirling kind of Celtic circle type things inside of here and kind of continued on with these lines. So that's all just completely in the geometry. Yeah, very, very hacky, but you know what? It works. And ultimately, like, in the end, this entire room, it's just like it's 10,000 triangles for the floor. To kind of give a frame of reference, Lara Croft had like 500,000 in just her hair. So I think we're okay.
Okay. This is
But
all
of course,
you.
there's
This
no
is all you're
end
looking at
pieces.
when you're in this room anyway. Top down.
Yeah. So I figured I could kind of go a bit more wild with this. But 10,000 is still not a whole lot. It's probably a bit much for mobile. So I'll probably, when I go to mobile, I'll probably have to bake this to like a quarter of a texture and like a whatever it'll fit in a 256 texture. We'll probably have to do something like that for the mobiles, mobile versions, or we'll figure something along the lines of that. Although I think mobile can now crunch polygons pretty well. So that's in the future. We'll think about that later. By the time we release this, mobile will probably be on Samsung Galaxy,
well,
S23 or something.
Yeah, the thing is too, like Unreal actually has a lot of really good tools for like reducing things, reducing polycats and stuff like that. Like
so,
I can't remember what the technical term is, like decimating or like
well,
generating LODs basically.
Yeah, this is not going to be well LOD'd because there's so many UV seams everywhere, though. Like that's kind of the problem with the way I made it. Is, if you look at this, you can't decimate a UV seam, and so you can't decimate almost any of this. Like it kind of almost has to all stay without it falling apart in a lot of areas. So it's one of those things where it's going to be probably worth it for me to just bake a quarter of it and just tile it 4 times or mirror it for both axes.
Yeah,
but that's fine. We'll worry about that later, and that's because we have such a limited number of floors that it's really not the biggest issue. And plus, for mobile, you don't expect the same fidelity.
That's true. You're looking at something way smaller.
Yeah. Okay, and so back to the treasure room, which isn't quite finished yet. I don't have
Okay.
it done, so we're just gonna kind of.
Pixel Theory saying, having just read recently, people say generally that the target for mobile with Unreal is under 500,000 polygons or
Oh
triangles.
yeah, we're we're way below that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Total, how many is on our character?
the character I think is only about 14,000. We
14,000?
should
Okay.
probably up it a bit more. We should probably up it a bit more, but that's fine.
Well,
Like I
because
said,
remember, you can have up to four of them on screen. Actually, no, you can have more than that because we have an ability that splits you out into images, remember?
right.
We have a lot. And then plus, but the thing is, so this room, there aren't going to be any enemy NPCs in here. So,
Yeah, but if there's four characters and well,
hmm.
it'll be. But I mean, at the same time, though, with the main character, we will make a mobile version of it.
Yeah.
So I'm not
Yeah,
too
yeah,
worried
for
about
sure.
when we get there. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, thanks for the nice and cohesive. All right. So let's open up the treasure room in Unreal. Recent. Did I save it? I did not. Treasure room 2. Play this thing. Where we're at now.
Nice. Ooh, man.
It's barely. It's not even really. So
Yeah, all the effects are still blown out.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's got this weird lighting artifact where it's catching it's almost like subsurface scattering the bottom. These are all
Mm.
the
Yeah, I guess that's because the thing is, like, we're streaming off of my machine, and then
yeah.
Jacques is sharing his screen with me, and I'm sharing that. That's why anything on Jacques' machine is running at like 5 FPS. I don't know if
Oh,
there's ways
sorry.
of optimizing that.
So um, this is kind of what the room would look like.
Yeah, Discord Nitro. I guess we could fork that over for it's a company expense.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's just get these out of the way for now. I haven't fully properly lit this. Put the bells and whistles in. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just kind of trying to figure out some issues I have with the shading. Like you can see that this is supposed to be a hard edge. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what's with this little subsurface scattery thing that's happening here. Uh, oh, 1080p, 60 frames per second screen share. So it just seems like it's all kind of looks like it's one smoothing group. But I'll like when I go detailed lighting, it's like it's a bit of a mess. I'm not sure what's happening or why, but it should
Mm-hmm.
really have kind of like that hard edge to it right here, which
Yeah.
it's not.
Hmm.
Yeah, thought it was in the shader, but it might be in light map settings, might be in something else. So we'll get there. I'll figure it out. It should have this hard edge though, so I'm not too happy
Hmm.
with this.
Yeah, it does look a
Yeah,
bit odd.
yeah. Well, it's just the shading should be a lot more hard.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll look into it. I'm not too worried about it. It's just something I did before the end of the day. It's just kind of strange that when I play it, it's like it's lit like that, but when I play it in the actual game,
Mm-hmm.
it's just this kind of like dark mess. But yeah, of course, this thing here doesn't. The effect there doesn't help.
Yeah, yeah. It's very hard to see. We gotta figure out what's going on with those effects.
Oh yeah, it might. It really just might be one of my post processing settings. So
Mhm.
I'll probably work on that and the water this week. I think that'll be the
Okay, I emailed the guy at Epic, so we'll see what they say. If
yeah.
there's
Oh,
any.
do I have two post processing volumes here? What's this? Dungeon Discover volume. Okay. And what's this third one? Camera focal one. Okay.
Do you
Yes.
just type in Underworld Outline, or you just type in post, and it'll show you all the post processing volumes?
Yeah, it's just the one. Okay. So I'm sure there might be some. I was looking at some. What is it called? Image eye adaption. Yeah, it looks like just the eye adaption might be a bit off on our.
Hmm.
Bruno said it was our post processing, but I'm not even sure if it was that. I mean, if I were to shut off the bloom, Not that I want to do too much of like visual art debugging of this thing, but let's just say let's turn off post processing and see what happens. Take the post process and just delete it. What does this look like? Yeah, it's not a post processing issue. It's just an issue.
Yeah.
Oh wait, the post processing is still there.
Hmm?
So I'll save it first and then I'll play it. So no post processing here. Oh, it's just dark as shit.
Mhm. But yeah, it's not
It
blown
is a
out.
post processing issue.
Well, the thing is, it's dark though, so if you brighten
Yeah.
everything up.
Yeah, but maybe that's what I need to do is I need to kind of go back and revisit all the lighting with the deleted the post processing, relight, like just basically calibrate the lights so that they kind of work without, then re-add the post processing just for things like bloom and a few other things.
Oh
Maybe it
yeah,
is
that could
like,
work.
yeah. Let's go
Hmm.
back to that room 1 just to see. Okay, so
Actually,
let's.
oh, Pixel Theory is saying he just manually sets the exposure in his post process volume.
Manually set the exposure. Yeah, I mean, oh, you don't set it to auto?
Well, that's gonna affect the. If you set it to auto, then that's gonna do all the adjustments, right?
Yeah,
So camera works.
let's give this a go. It's really that easy. That looks like it's still pretty bad. But it does look like it's still doing something. The min brightness, the max brightness, but this is just the metering. Sorry, Pixel Theory, what was it? Change it to manual? Manual, okay. Save that.
If the thing to keep in mind too is you can run into it, like if you run it, you can like run the game check.
Yeah. The exposure component.
Yeah. Now if you select the post processing volume while it's running, you can make adjustments and you should be able to see them.
Oh, interesting.
Select something else and then select it again.
Okay. The exposure component. No, I'm not sure how this works. You have to save it each time for it to work?
You shouldn't. Well, the game's ready. You shouldn't have to.
Min bright.
Yeah, you should be in it.
Yeah, I'm in the post processing volume here. Intense chromatic aberration. That's not it. Dark mask. Oh, I have to be in the camera?
Well, the camera has to be in the post processing volume, which it should be.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so turn bloom off, turn intensity. Yeah, so like I mean it is working, right? You can see the bloom going on and off there. Metering mode. Manual. The exposure component. Yeah, this doesn't seem to do anything.
Hmm.
What is crazy though is if I delete the post processing, it's still sort of like, well, let's stop this. Uh, delete the post processing volume. Go play this again. No. Oh no, is there a post
Did you save
processing?
it?
I believe I did. Post, okay. Let's try this again. Oh, there we go. It's just a crazy dark room. What? That actually might have something to do with it. Like, if I were to go do this and raise these back to like 10. So it's definitely an issue with how I set up my post processing, which means I probably screwed up my lighting. Anyway. Yeah. No eye adjustment, no post processing. Dark as hell. Seems to work better though.
Yeah, a lot better.
Let's go back to these other lights. Spotlights. Put these down to like 1. Is that like 100? Spotlight. 80. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to do a quick lighting pass.
Yeah, okay. I remember you telling me it's like because I asked like, can you just adjust it so that
Yeah.
you're not changing the exposure that much, and you're like, oh no, it's a bug, it's a known bug, and it's like, okay, I guess it was just a post process issue.
Yeah. Seems to be more like it.
Remember, gotta save.
Yeah. Oh.
But the other thing too is like same thing with the post process. Like you should be able to run it, adjust the lights, and that like
Yeah.
now you can select the lights and then adjust them, and that should update real time.
Oh yeah.
I think so.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There we go. Then that's gonna be like the light glowy thing, and that's really good to know. So this will be 200. Yeah. 50.
Now the thing to remember though is it's not going to save any of those changes, so just remember the number you set it to, and then
Yeah.
when you stop the game, use those numbers on the lights.
All right. What I'll do is I'll go back and find the screen grab of the other one and just calibrate the lights. And once I do that, it'll be quick, kind of like going through all the levels and just typing them all again, and then kind of reapplying a new post processing, copying, pasting that to all of them. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's all. This is good to know.
Yeah, that saves us a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Isn't there supposed to be a light that comes through here? But you know what? That light's gonna be too dark now too.
Yep. Those lights are gonna have to be updated. Well, that one will be easier because it's just all inside the
Yeah.
same prefab anyway. So.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Cool.
So, Pixel Theory say before you do any of that, I'd seriously suggest increasing the manual exposure. The thing is, because right now, what we have, or what we had before, is basically it was very dark, and so the post processing was adjusting for the exposure, but then it was also blowing out all of our effects.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if there's a way of having it as dark as it was and having the effects. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna blow out all the emissives if we use the
Yeah.
lighting that we had before and the post processing that we had before.
That actually looks just a lot better even without the post processing.
It does.
Less
It
so.
kind of reminds me of a conversation we were having earlier this week, where it's like, yeah, this looks like an Unreal game.
Yeah.
Something about the lighting and rendering, it's just like, yep, that's Unreal.
Out of the box, it handles high value contrast better than Unity out of the box. Unity can get there, but it requires a bit of work. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's so what I had was 250 here for those.
Very
And
dramatic lighting. Just like our game looks like just like Shadow Complex or Gears of War.
yeah, that was it.
Okay, that's good to know. Well, that's because that's nice. That's a valid solution for like the effect stuff then that
Yeah,
we don't need to worry about because that'll fix a
yeah,
lot of things. There was stuff across the board that was being blown out.
yeah.
Like the little health pickups were blown out. The little
The
like
water,
the
the
water
water
was blown out. The
sources.
lava was
Yeah,
blown out.
yeah,
Uh the like gold pickups were blown out. The keys were blown out. The warp was
yeah,
blown out. All of your attacks, obviously.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That's good to
Mm-hmm.
know. Hey, thanks for the the inspiration, guys.
Yeah.
I got some stuff to improve on this next week and get the effects working again. All right, yeah. So that's all I got.
Oh yeah, but we could. So basically, yeah. Pixel Theory is recommending we could, rather than redoing everything, we could make our own auto exposure settings and clamp the brightness and darkness while still getting nice auto exposure between areas.
Okay, let's give that a go then. So world out. What were you suggesting? Oh, there's two post processors. This one. So uh, you're suggesting that we clamp brightness and darkness,
Well,
max
because
brightness,
oh yeah, so this is if we're setting it to auto exposure and we can set max brightness and min brightness.
yeah, max brightness. Oh, exposure.
Oh, and we can set that in the project settings too.
Oh yeah. Uh, there's
Edit project
there's
settings.
preferences, right? No, it's from preferences.
No
Editor
project
preferences.
settings. Editor settings is just for your editor. Project settings is for the game.
Uh,
Edit. Second
projects.
from the bottom. There you go.
And, I think I did this already.
Yeah.
Auto exposure. Yeah, I unchecked it because that's the first thing that happens when you
Hmm.
write values in the editor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Uh, this is manual. Min brightness. Why none of this stuff is selectable anymore? Exposure basic.
Okay. You're saying the way we're doing it now, you have to go into the game to see it
Oh,
rather than just see it in the viewport.
oh. So wait, let's go back to that again. Project settings, exposure, and say apply pre exposure before writing the scene color. Are you suggesting we type in that we click on any of these, or is it?
Oh, he's saying set this to manual if we're gonna do manual.
I don't think I'm going to do manual,
Hmm.
or should I? I don't think I'm going to because I think it's just going to be kind of like a special case whenever we need to go into manual. So otherwise, I'll just kind of trust the defaults for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, going back to manual. This. what I'm doing. $16. Save current. Is this what we want? Nope. It's just black. Doesn't really work. Yeah. So have the auto exposure enabled so we know what we're at in that. Yeah. So I think this is kind of the setting that we had where all the lights are too dark and your eye adjusting. Eye is just adjusting to the. Did I delete the lights?
Did you save it?
I thought it did. Lights. Why do I have a second set of lights here?
Not sure. Is that the lights that you put in the test level?
Nope.
Or because there are lights inside. They shouldn't be visible there. There are lights inside the dungeon door walls, but
Yeah, there is. So if I were to kind of go back to the see, the spotlights were all 150. So back to where we're again. All right. All right. Take that. Save that. Probably delete the post processing and just rebuild a new one. Oh wait, I don't have to do that. I can just go back to the default settings. Auto exposure histogram. Sure. What's the min brightness? Max brightness.
you just uncheck the box if you don't want it actually modifying that, right?
Yeah. AO, I like that. All right. Oh, loadout. Yeah, that's what we don't want.
But what exactly are you getting out of this post-process volume?
It's to get the bloom, to get kind of like a bit of the chromatic aberration and the ambient occlusion, and
Okay.
I wasn't doing a lot of tone mapping or anything like that with it. So.
But if you uncheck like all these boxes so it's not actually affecting the exposure, because we don't need it to affect the exposure, right? It was working fine without the post-processing volume. Yeah.
Not quite. Bloom was standard. I need to crank it up just a touch.
Yeah, the camera post process still kicks in, but like it was working pretty well when we didn't have any. Ooh.
Yeah, I think it's the min brightness. I'll just copy what I had before with the min and max brightness. Might be threshold. What's the other level I have? Here. Post processing volume. So 0 to okay. So this is kind of the settings that I had before. Sure that. So screenshot. Oops. Intensity, so it's 0.2, threshold 0, brightness is 0, 2.25. And the bloom's not working anymore, and it's way too bright. Damn it! Okay, I'm not
because the thing Pixel Theory is saying is that
yeah,
your lights right now are way higher, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so you might want to tone them down again. Not all the way
The
back down to where they were
I think
before,
it's
but
now
somewhere in the middle.
there's no more bloom though. There's no more emissive happening on the window.
Okay.
So that's the other issue.
Oh yeah, so you can't have super bright lights and the bloom, probably.
Yeah. Bloom. All right. Bloom. I would need to increase the what?
Increase the emissive strength or decrease the lights. What Pixel Theory is saying.
Lights more. Go grid. Let's increase the bloom.
I think, well, because you still want it darker, right? So I'd say, like, put the intensity way down and see
That's
what
what we
that
had
looks like.
before, and then the effects started blowing out.
No, but that's still way higher than you had it before, right?
Okay, let's go like 25.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's put spotlights to.
Because like there's probably a happy middle ground here, right? Yeah, because you had them at like 1 and 0.5 or something like that before, right?
Yeah.
So we don't need to go all the way down to 1, but like, yeah. Oh, still,
There we go.
ooh.
So this is probably
Wait,
where I
wait.
want.
Can you throw some projectiles and see what our effects are doing right now? Yeah.
Yeah, now we're getting that problem again. Okay.
So
Uh,
okay, so because that's the thing, I guess. If you want that amount of bloom, is that going to do that to our effects every time?
I think I could probably raise the emissive on the window more in the shader.
Yeah, I think if we raise the emissive in the shader that you want the bloom coming off of, like the window thing, that's probably better than readjusting all of our VFX.
Yeah, for sure. 40. That's that's okay. Maybe I just have to worry about the post processing eye adaptation now. So metering mode, decrease the emissive, lower the exposure, auto bias exposure, increase the lights from the window, and increase the lights. Yeah. So brightness. Hmm. Brightness was 8. have before? 0.1? Player, I'll have player out of this. Max brightness. No, that doesn't seem to do anything. Max brightness does not do anything at all.
Well, it wouldn't in the dungeon, right?
Yeah.
Max brightness would, I guess, would be more like for outside.
Yeah. So 0.1, that's what's killing it. 0.25. This looks like a happy place to start.
Yeah.
Yeah. Start with like min brightness of 0.25. Keep auto exposure. What's basic?
Yeah. Now, something to remember is the editor isn't going to save these settings.
Yeah.
So whatever you change, you're going to have to modify again.
Yeah. So. I think you get 0.2. Oh, yeah, it's wrong because you just literally told me that. So if I go back to the processing volume and I say 1, save this. Then I could probably put this up to 60. Spotlights can probably go back up to probably less attenuation, so we're gonna get those lights back in there. And then now to get this bloom back. 900. The bloom back would be.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if we just did this in the camera itself.
Yeah.
Because we can set the min brightness in the camera itself rather than relying on these post-processing volumes.
Yeah, but do we have a different camera for the dungeon as we do for the overworld? Because that's kind of our big issue is hopping between the dark dungeons and the bright sunlight.
Yeah, but we're setting the min brightness, which is like our lower bounds for when we're in dungeons. The max brightness is what would affect the overworld, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me just. Where's the bloom? Let's get rid of these things here. Physical blockers.
Yeah, and we can like Pixel Theories just say we could easily just overwrite those with post process volumes anyway.
Yeah. We wouldn't see the bloom in here, would we? I guess we start the game. Let's see what we can do to get the bloom working. Post processing volume. Get this thing going here.
Yeah, I think we should just increase the emissive on those windows instead of trying to fix it with post processing at this point. Because yeah, it's either if it with the emissives as it is now, it's basically lower than what all the effects are, where all the effects are. So anything you do to boost that bloom is going to blow out the effects.
Yeah.
With post processing, if you just increase the emissive, then.
All right. So it's this thing. This one and white. The emissive is actually at 1. So
And push it up past 1. Set it to 10 or 20, yeah.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
There we go. And if I want to tint it a color, which I kind of wanted it to be orangish, but we'll leave it at that. Well, actually, let's just go 50.
Yeah, that's the thing is, so what you can do is in the material, Pixel Theory said, like, you can just have a color and then run it through a multiply node and multiply it by like 20 or 25.
Just grab. Well, the problem is that we're actually using different lighting, so I'm not sure if anything colored would look good with the other lighting sources.
Yeah,
You know
that's the
what?
thing.
That's pretty close to what we had before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It looks pretty good. The thing is, like we did want to kind of keep it neutral, but the thing is, if we want to do something that will match the other lighting sources, if we use a parameter, we can dynamically change it to match whatever source we want, right?
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
can I just convert this to a parameter? There we go.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess it'd be a vector parameter, vector 3.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, so let's go.
And just call it color, and then multiply that by 20. I think it's 20 was the number you were using.
I think I made it 50. Well, it's black now, so if I were to make this like yellow. Oh, there we go. Look at that. If you wanted orange, it'd be like 0.5. Yeah. So now it looks like hell. Cool.
Oh yeah, and we don't even need to create a dynamic material instance for this.
Nope.
No, we can use the that thing Bruno keeps talking about, the primitive something property.
Yeah. We just
I can't remember the name.
Yeah.
I know what it is. I can look it up real quick.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
The multiplies a scalar. That's awesome, dude. And I just named this window color.
Collision primitive data, or no, custom primitive data. Yeah.
Custom primitive. Right.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Nice. Now we have our it is getting some weird ass artifacting. Nope. And now we have our emissive color. Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, effects not blown out. This was like this is one of the more technical challenging things that we weren't sure how to fix. But yeah, nice. Fixed it on stream.
Nice.
And now when we upload this to YouTube, we could be like tutorial for something. I don't know what. Dark rooms in Unreal?
Yeah.
Something along those lines. Emissives and bloom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How to balance your effects with lighting, with varying lighting sources. Cool. So that would mean
that's probably true. Yeah. Yeah, I'll figure it. The thing is, I had a friend that like wanted to learn Unreal, and I was like, hey, he also is on Twitch. And I was like, hey, you know what? If you want to do a regular stream where it's like we just go over a bunch of stuff in Unreal, I would be up for it, and everybody in his chat would be like, I totally watched that, yeah. And it's like he's kind of dragging his feet on it. he's waiting till he gets a new PC. He's like basically he streams off of his PS4, and he doesn't have a he has like a laptop. He's borrowing like his fiance's laptop for now, so he doesn't have a decent gaming machine. Once he gets a decent gaming machine, hopefully we could do some like streams where we do some Unreal training, which I think would be a lot of fun. There's some stuff too, like some stuff I've built for our game that I've considered releasing to the marketplace, because it's like some of the stuff I've seen to the marketplace, like I got, and then I was like, oh, this is I've built some very robust stuff that I'm really happy with, and is pretty handy, and like has started making content, has made generating new content way easier. Like setting up a quest, super easy now.
I could put up my portcullis.
Yeah, that's the thing about the way I describe a lot of stuff in the marketplace is it's for enthusiasts by enthusiasts. So it's a lot of it is a lot of the stuff, like a lot of the art stuff we see is like we're looking at water shaders and like this looks great, but we're like, oh, this is way heavier than it probably needs to be. But it has all this flexibility that we don't really need. Like we're just gonna grab one instance of it and stuff like that, and we don't need to create it. Like the water shader we're using now, it's like it's creating a dynamic material instance every time and has all these properties that we could use. You don't need any of that. Yeah, yeah, they want to be able to name all those features. And the thing is, like, there's things for it that are nice, but at the same time, to use it practically, like I could definitely see, you have all those features, you tune it the way you want, and then you create a material instance that it has the settings you want, and then you create an optimized version of it. But it gets you a much better looking game a lot quicker for sure. And there's stuff like a status effect one I got that was it didn't scale very well. All the status effects were in the same event graph in Blueprint. So it was like anytime you wanted to add a new one, you had to go through all this stuff. So I made my own status effect system that it's kind of based on that, but basically each status effect is a class that you can just add, and it has all the information and its own logic. Yeah, that's a good attitude to have, because yeah, then you're gonna learn everything rather than just like kind of get a patchwork solution and then move on. It's like it's better to understand all the ins and outs of everything, and then because I find the more you understand about the more aspects, the better you can build things, and you can kind of like kind of see problems of coming and know what to avoid when you actually understand all the corners of the engine.
Had the light, and for some reason, it got lost.
Hmm? Where
Had
did
the
you have the
light in
light?
there, in the door walls.
Oh, cool.
I added, yeah, so I had them in there, and it worked, and then it stopped working at some point for some reason.
You're
Jeez.
making games for an 18-month-old. Wow, that's pretty impressive. What kind of games are you making? Like, I assume it's mostly for PC, or is it for like a tablet that they can touch? Oh, nice. That's cool.
Nice.
Did you get like an audio pack so they make sounds and you click on them? Nice. That's cool. I could see that being a lot of fun for an 18-month-old.
It seems to be facing the spotlights. Seem to be facing the wrong way.
Oh, that's weird.
Gee, did I actually hit like a? It seems to be going the right way here. Do I have the wrong door?
Right. Okay. Yeah. Video. It's interesting. A video where you find. Okay. You're gonna see that kind of like Dora the Explorer. Yeah. Yeah. That should be fun. I can definitely see that being a lot. Having a lot of sort of, I guess, replay value is the word.
Yeah.
Rather than just watching the same video over and over again, you can randomize it a bit and make it a little more interactive. Rather than, I mean, because it's still like it's a bit interactive, those kinds of things for kids, but the fact that they can actually like touch it and be like, yeah, there, I found it, rather than it just playing at a certain speed. Oh, okay, so you're gonna upload it to. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah, I could see that being a cool playlist to like just have it be sort of random each time, so it's not the same. It reminds me there was a. It reminds me sort of a. There's, I think it was a Monty Python record that had three sides, and I never actually listened to it. I've only heard the stories, but basically, so there was side A, B, and C. And what it was is there were two grooves on one side, so that depending on where you dropped the needle, it would play a different track. And it was actually I think it was originally done with a horse race. So there were four grooves on the record, uh, and you didn't know where you dropped it, and depending on which one you dropped it in, a different horse would win. And they did the same thing with the Monty Python record, where it was like there were people there was it's on one of the Simpsons commentaries. One of the writers heard it, and he was like, it like broke his brain when he put on the record, and he's like, I've listened to this record like every day for a year, and I've never heard this before. What the hell is going on? Yeah, and so like your videos could be like that, where it's like you don't know which one you're gonna get.
I think I broke this, and I don't really know how.
Oh, oh, this which way should the light be pointing? Should be pointing through the wall, right?
Yeah, it was, but then it was not working for some reason.
That's what happens when I stop paying attention to Jock for 1 second. Just talk about some Monty Python records.
So look, the spotlight's going here now, not through the door where it's supposed to be going. And if you go here, then it looks like the spotlight's going way back there, but it makes no sense. And there should be a spotlight coming through here as well. What? I don't understand.
Okay, make sure you compile and save your blueprint.
Yeah, I did. Oops. I think I have to like restart for some reason. So this is saved and compiled.
Put it at like a wacky angle, like even further into the room.
I did. Oh.
Yeah.
I did that. I've tried that a few times now.
Yeah, you might need to restart Unreal if that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, I think, because like if a blueprint's loaded in memory and some of the components transforms are already loaded in the level, it might not catch the updates when you change them on the original instance.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sounds sense. Sure, save that. Sure, save that. Cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't even know what I'm going to be doing this next week. I think I'm probably going to be working on some other World 5 stuff. I still have a bunch of notes from like the last 30% of the game that I want to get to, but I've been like fixing a lot of these other kind of like quality of life things and going through. I might just and I did find a bug tonight that I should actually take a note of. When I reset the dungeon, then ran back down and there was no dungeon, and then the game crashed. Should probably fix that. I'll take a note. I think I know roughly what was causing that, because I went down into the dungeon with mod IO enabled, and so that the dungeon was set to use pre-made dungeon. Then I left and then reset it, and I reset a bunch of the settings, but I probably didn't reset use pre-made dungeon. I cleared all of the other information, like all the rooms that were supposed to spawn, but I probably forgot to reset that, and that's what caused the crash. I'm assuming was unrelated. Unreal Editor is like notoriously unstable. I don't get anywhere near that, but well, I don't think I've gotten a crash actually when I've run a package build. Can't remember if I have.
That's a weird bug.
Wait, which bug?
The dithering starts to kind of like flicker in around there when I'm around this here.
Oh, well, it's just because of the distance of the camera, right?
It also might just be over blasting of the emissive.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
That's actually maybe causing the lighting problem too.
The dithering?
No, the amount of emissive might be what's causing the issue with the light not working properly, because that's when it stopped working.
Oh, when you put up the emissive?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's blowing out, or it's overriding the light, basically.
Yeah. I don't know enough about this, but I know that there was a point in time where going over one was
Hmm.
not the best idea. So let's just go. Yeah, there we go. Let's go 25 again.
Well, there is, because something we could do, like run it again, and then just, if you eject, you can see what the lights are doing.
Yeah.
So run in there, and then hit the eject button, and then zoom over. Look at any of the lights. Oh, wait, no, that doesn't make sense. Oh, maybe.
It's
So
facing the wrong
which?
direction. It's supposed to be
Well,
facing there. There
there's
is
two
no light.
things. No, no, but the thing is, Jacques, you can select stuff and see what the lights are doing here. Because the thing is, so the thing is, there's two objects there that are back to back, right?
Yeah.
So one of those lights is functioning properly, and then it's the other one that isn't. So if you,
This isn't functioning properly. This light is supposed to be going through the grate.
no, no, but
Point.
there's another light that's supposed to be pointing the other way, right? Because there's two door walls there back to back.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. So if there's two door walls back to back, yeah, one's working fine, the other one isn't.
Yeah.
This one's working, the other one isn't, and this one isn't. So all the ones that are facing the room are not working.
So and yeah, so and that's the problem. So why are the ones that are facing the room not working? Did that? So that one doesn't have. Yeah, because I don't know the difference. So what you can do? Wait, don't touch it.
Oh, damn it. Okay.
The whole point of ejecting was so you could actually select the objects and see which way they were rotated and stuff. Shock, not just zoom around. So eject, and then
Yeah.
if you go to level or world outliner,
Yep.
so you should be able to select, like if you select the door wall.
Yep. Oh, there we go.
Okay, yeah, but for some reason, so uh, so they're pointed the right way. Hmm. The thing is, so I can't remember. Can you open up the blueprint?
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's a child of the passage, it'll be hidden when it's a door. Oh, it's not a child of anything, so it should just always be on.
Yeah.
Or, wait. Was there is if you look at the script, is there a setting for lights? Because I remember setting stuff up for the lights.
Invert passage. Instruction script. Passage. Passage visibility. Uh, check.
Look at.
Hmm. Hmm. You know what? I might be a moron.
Why?
I think. Uh, so what I did was I believe I just did it on the one. No, no, room. So I just did it on the procedural door wall, but I probably should have done the no trim one as well.
Did you? Well, the no trim one inherits from the parent one, so any changes you make to that should be on all of them.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay. So what exactly? Can you show me what you're changing? Because there is a
Intensity
thing
went
that.
0.5 to 100, and that's pretty much just it.
So you're changing the intensity, not the
Yeah,
color, though.
yeah.
Hmm.
The light color is already driven by the secondary light, whatever, by the
Yeah,
light.
yeah. That's driven by that. Um. Hmm.
Hmm.
Because there is a thing changing the color
Mm-hmm.
of the light.
I don't have to build it, do I? No.
Okay. Yeah, I think what I'm doing to set the color of the light is actually setting its intensity as well.
Oh, okay.
Because I can't set. I don't know if I can set intensity.
I don't think it's changing intensity because
Oh
I've
yeah, I
been
can set intensity.
tweaking the intensities per room, and they're all different.
Well, oh,
It's
so
just
the very easy way to do this is so run the game,
yeah,
select the light that's too dark, and then see
yeah.
what its settings are.
In details.
Run the game. Okay, now you can eject, select the light, or select the door wall, and then select the light. Uh,
Right.
if you go into details, and then if you look at the components, select the light. So what's that?
Down, back down.
Yeah, yeah. So that's it.
There, back to 800.
Okay. So what you can do is
Yeah.
you can stop it, and then if
Yep.
you look at the dungeon discovery volume,
Yep.
open up that blueprint, edit blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so if you look at, there should be a function called apply dungeon lighting. It's, if you look over on the left side, there's a list of functions. It's the second one from the bottom. That's components. Just below that, there. And then if you look down, 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 down,
Yep. Oh, apply
there.
dungeon light setting. Okay.
Yeah. So open up that.
Just double click it.
Yeah.
All right.
And then you can just disconnect this. So hold down Alt and then click on one of the white arrows.
This one.
Is that white?
Oh, white. Oh,
There you go.
okay.
There you go. So save and compile that. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Wait, run it again. So and then check. Okay, so just check what the bright one is versus the dark one then. What is the value on the bright one? The one that is actually working properly.
Yeah. Hold on a sec. Uh, it's the door wall. So the bright one is 100.
That's
That's the
100.
right value. Yeah.
And so the dark one is
0.8.
yeah. Huh. And that's when you stop it, like it should be at 100 or what?
It should be at 100. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And it is, well, that one's 100, but so this is okay. And if you
Oh, I
stop it,
just set it to 100 now. Stop it.
yeah, stop it.
Okay.
And then are they currently set to 100?
Set to 1.8.
So they've been changed manually on these instances. You have to reset those settings.
Huh? So really?
Yeah,
They
well,
were
no,
changing-
just so instead of typing it in, you click the little yellow arrow and then it'll reset it. But yeah,
Oh,
that's why because you had manually overridden them on these instances,
oh,
so
weird.
that's why it wasn't. Yeah,
Oh, strange. I don't recall ever doing that, but must have been. Especially considering that's like the default.
and then you copy and pasted these to every level. Yeah. So yeah, you probably just tweaked them in there instead of actually yeah, there you
Uh,
go.
much better. And the effects work.
Yeah.
And it is a touch bright though. Maybe I do need to tone it down a touch.
Yeah, they do. The effects are a little blown.
So I could probably even just raise the lighting value even more.
Mm. Yep.
Yeah. All right. I'll get that. I'll get back to our happy medium before. I'll grab a screenshot of what we had before. Try to tweak to that.
Cool.
All right. But yeah, I think propagating that throughout the levels isn't going to be too difficult. It's just about kind of like selecting the lights, delete, selecting the lights, delete, delete. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
copy
do it all
paste.
in one. Yeah, copy paste, copy paste. Yeah, it
Yeah.
should be okay.
That's I don't know if I mentioned this before Pixel either, but that's a nice little hack for Unreal is basically if you have Notepad++ open, you can copy whatever you want and then paste it in Notepad++, and then just keep it there. And then so like Jacques will have like all the lights in the scene, copy it, paste it in Notepad++, and then anytime he wants to paste them back into another level somewhere, he can just copy it from Notepad++, the text, and then paste it into the scene, and it'll just work.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that for lights or meshes or literally anything in Unreal.
Mm-hmm.
Super handy.
Yep. I'll probably get around to that tonight because
Yeah, I did it when I was placing a bunch of like the like crates and stuff. So I just have a bunch of different groupings of crates,
yeah.
and then
Oh yeah,
anytime I was going to another
you
room,
don't.
just grab a bunch of them and place them all in.
Yeah, you totally don't even need the notepad. But you could just do Control C, Control V. The
Mm-hmm.
notepad just makes it just in case like it crashes or you have to do some other stuff that you have to copy. But yeah, it's fantastic. Cool.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
yeah. That's handy. Well, because the reason I don't do or the reason I like using Notepad is because there's certain actions that you take that use copy paste invisibly. So like if you hold down Alt and then drag, and then like move or rotate something, it'll create a duplicate of it, and that is technically copy pasting. So the next time you paste, it'll be doing the same thing you just did. So if you pasted in like all your lights and then duplicated some of them, the next time you hit paste, it'll just be the ones you duplicated.
Mhm.
Yeah. Cool. So that's we're gonna have some pretty nice looking dungeons. Well, they already look really nice, but now the effects won't be blown out, and you'll be able to see stuff a lot better.
That's the plan.
Yeah. Then we'll have pretty nice looking stuff.
And so here's yeah, okay. So I didn't touch these ones, but I'm going
Yeah.
to have to if I want to look at the original version.
Yeah, yeah. Just slap on a good post process and it'll look great.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's all it ever needed.
Hmm.
Wait, I think I have a lot of screenshots in our Slack
So
conversations.
the other thing you can do, I'd say, with the post process is if we convert it into a blueprint,
Mm-hmm.
you can have if you put the same blueprint of the post process in every level, in every dungeon room, then you
Yep.
can just adjust the original blueprint instead of having to go through and modify it in every single dungeon room.
Oh, I just basically we only have one, two, three, four uh, room sizes,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all pretty. It's pretty just it's scaling it, times
Well,
two,
no,
right?
but now don't you have to go through all of them and make minor changes?
Yeah,
So instead of doing that, you could have just changed one setting in the parent blueprint, and then it would propagate to
uh,
all the rooms.
yeah. Either or, because the thing is, I have to do it to one anyway, and because I already have to change the lights in all of them anyway, so it's
Yeah.
just about copy pasting the lights with the post processing with the like so
Mm-hmm.
about grabbing them all. So it's like it's not the biggest thing, except I'm gonna have to
It's the thing is, it's like it's not the biggest thing, but like it. I don't know. I keep trying to pitch things that'll save you work in the long run, but you're like, nah.
do details. So our exposure. That's right. It was 0.25, was it? I think I have some screenshots up right now of what it was supposed to look like. Right, like a bit blown out. Oh, I didn't save it right. 60. 60/50 looks okay.
Yeah.
And I think I have to lower the hallway ones now. 60/50. Yeah. It's pretty close to that. Okay. Levels. It's 60. I think I desaturated this a touch. This would be 50. Let's make this 60/50. We'll go back to 60. Can't tell if it's supposed to be more blue than this, more saturated.
I think it was actually less.
Less saturated?
It's hard to tell because like the because I think the other room it didn't have the pattern on the floor.
Yeah. It's pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Effects are still a bit bloomed out. Maybe I could
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll make a blueprint that includes the
yeah.
lights and the post process volume, and then you can just modify one, and it'll propagate through everything.
All right.
And then, well, modify a couple because there's basically we'll do one per room shape.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're modifying the post process, you'll just do it once. If you're modifying all the lights, you might have to
Yeah, that
do
makes
a
sense.
few different passes.
All right.
But that way, yeah, that'll save you a ton of time making modifications, and then it'll make it easier, easier to do all the variations as well.
Yeah. So I think if I put the min brightness to 0.5 and I work
Mm-hmm.
around this setting, well, actually now the bloom's gone. So
Well, you can up the bloom, up the emissive, right?
Yeah. Min brightness 0.5. Back to this. Post processing. Where I think we are. The orange seems to be okay. Orange seems to be okay. I think it just needs to be actually a bit more saturated to get back to what we were before. No, too much. I think it is 0.8. That's real.
It was a little.
I think it's good enough.
I think it's a little less teal in that too.
A little less teal.
Yeah, a
A bit more blue.
bit more pixel theory said a bit more purple. Yeah, but it's definitely less green in there.
Yeah.
It's a bit warmer. Feels like. And yeah, because I think that's kind of the thing Phil was joking about when you have that much teal, it starts to look like an aquarium, like you're
Yeah.
underwater.
All right. So 0.2, 0.5, and 1. Sure. All right. Cool. And then I just have to bloom the emissive a touch more.
Mm-hmm.
Environments, dungeons, materials, whites. Get this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, Pixel's theory saying he doesn't really feel the blue gold vibe. I think the saturation is just a bit too high. Like it's not as subtle. It's very
Yeah.
yeah.
Back to 50. We run back to 50 with this. Yeah. That just knocked down knocked down everything in the room actually. That
Yeah.
knockdown made all the darks
Mm.
darker.
Mm.
So I have to go back to the post processing volume and see if I can bloom. You know what? I
But
kind of like the bloom set to 1.
what do your particle effects look like now? No, not bad.
0.5. I kind of like that washed out look though for the bloom because it is
Yeah.
supposed to look dark. You kind of get those nice hues in there.
Mm-hmm.
It looks sort of almost volumetric.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. And the particles don't seem
Yeah.
blown out, so
Intensity 1. Mm. And, oh, you know what? I realized I was changing the saturation, but the thing is that doesn't do anything because you actually have the lighting set up.
no, we disabled the light.
Oh, so each light is individually. No, but I thought it was just light intensity. The light color has changed.
No, the light color has changed because we had like the pink and blue one too. Remember?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's gone.
Well, we disabled that when we did that in the. We disconnected the stuff in the dungeon discovery volume.
Oh, okay. Light. Light.
I don't really think the blue light's a diegetic light. It's just something that makes it look interesting.
Yeah, it's where's the blue light coming from? I think it's inspired by this level. Or where's Mario 3D World under, or what do you call it? The sewer levels?
Hmm. I don't know. I would have thought Underworld was it. Underground? There we go.
So it's kind of loosely based on this. It just is, you know. It's funny because like this is just the blue that we're just showing, but the thing is, a lot of the other levels are going to be they're going to be like we're going to have a red and yellow light version. We're going to have once we get those lights kind of rehooked up again. I may as well just revert them, right?
Hmm? Oh yeah, yeah,
May as well just revert the dungeon discovery, whatever.
yeah. Dungeon discovery volume.
Yeah, so revert.
Because that should just be changing the color, not the intensity. But I did, yeah, because I was doing some weird math in there where
Mm-hmm.
uh, the way colors are processed is weird. Because I had to divide it by 255, the selected color by 255, because in some places the colors the value between 1 and 0, and in other places in RGB it's like stored between 0 and 255.
For the ground is too high quality. It's funny because I've actually had because there was a point in time where I found the ground to be way too distracting when you're actually playing combat, especially. That I really wanted to kind of like do things to wash it out. I really wanted to kind of saturate it out like that. Just I wanted to lose it. I would say that's the best way to put it. So it's going to be one of those things where you don't really when you play it, you unless you actually sit there and look at it, you don't really notice it. I would say. At least that's what it's trying to go for.
Yeah, I mean, at
Oh,
least when combat is happening, it doesn't distract you from the combat. That's basically.
yeah. Okay, so this is not reverting, and Unreal is not closing.
Yeah, well, you'll have to close Unreal in order to revert it, because it probably
Yeah,
has it
it's
loaded
not.
in memory and the file's locked. Or,
So I'll Control Alt Delete this. Actually, I'm going to stop sharing my screen because this is slowing it down.
okay.
Oh, there we go. And now everything is starting to become.
Oh, what's going on with your PC?
I don't know. Now it's becoming a slideshow.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Control Alt Delete this.
What's your task manager tell you?
Task Manager tells me. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it was just the revert was not working,
Oh, okay.
and now it's being shut down. Okay, yes. So now that Unreal is closed down, the revert's going to work.
Okay. Cool.
Cool.
Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah. Well, that was a long stream. It's almost 2 hours.
Yeah. Loads of content. Of us
I got
fixing the lighting. That'll be a great title.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad we got that sorted out though, because yeah, that was it wasn't really bothering me because I knew we'd get it eventually, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, there's stuff you're picking up in the dungeon. I'm like, I know that's a key, but there's no way anybody playing this would understand that giant yellow ball that you just picked up is a key. So, yeah. Glad that's fixed.
Yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right. Well, yeah, let's call that a stream.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by, Pixel
joining us,
Theory.
Pixel Theory.
Yeah. Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah. Have a good night.